Namaste, welcome to Hasera. Today in this video we are going to talk about permaculture design and we will be mainly focusing on zone planning in permaculture design. The major objective of permaculture design is creating a sustainable system. And a sustainable system can only be created if we can reuse our resources in a wise manner. When you think of resources, we often only include capital, land, water, seed. But the primary resource we always have to take in concern is the time that we can allocate in our farming system. The principle of zone planning in permaculture is about dividing our land into different sections based on the time resource that you can provide to a specific part of the land or to the specific part of the farming system. When you look at our farm, there are different components. There is our house, family members, there is kitchen and a kitchen garden, there is commercial vegetable area, nursery area, livestock, fruit, forest, even a water spring. And permaculture zone planning is a very practical principle which helps us to arrange these different components in the best way possible based on the objective of the specific farm. In general, there are 6 possible zones in a permaculture farm, zone 0 to zone 5. Talking about zone 0, it is that part or that component of our farm which we need in every second of our life or that component which needs us in every second of his lives. For example, it might include our house, our livestock, our family members, which is the core part of our farming system. And while designing our farm, we always have to design different components based on the reference with zone 0. Zone 1 is that part of our farming system or that component of our land which need our care and attention at least 2 to 3 times in a day, or that part which we need at least 2 to 3 times in a day. For example, it might include our kitchen garden where we need to take the vegetables every morning and every evening. It might include our livestock where we need to go every now and often. It might include our nursery where we need to go water and weed at least 2 to 3 times in a day. Production wise, zone 1 is the section of our highest priority. If you look at Hasera for example, our zone 0 lies in the center of the farm and just in the lower section of zone 0 there is zone 1. And all the water that we use in zone 0 while washing our dishes, washing our clothes, cleaning our vegetables, taking showers, all the water is collected in this pond, and even when there is drought everywhere, we use this water to irrigate in our vegetable fields which is in the zone 1. We have our nursery seedlings growing in zone 1. In nursery they need much time, much care and attention. When they grow taller and bigger, we transplant them elsewhere and that time they don't need much care. So zone 2 is that part of our land or that component of our farming system which need care and attention only once in a week or once in 2 weeks. For example, this is our commercial vegetable section which were just transplanted from the nursery. And here they don't need that much care, that much water, that much weeding as they would need in a nursery. And here in Hasera, zone 2 lies above the house where proper care and attention is not as easy as in zone 1. The care and management that a crop demands depends on crop themselves. For example, tomato needs much more care than the eggplant would need. Capsicum needs much more care than normal beans, peas or faba beans would require. So in zone 2 we plant those crops which don't need much care and attention. While we are planting eggplants, we plant them under zone 2. While we are planting tomatoes, we plant them in zone 1 because they need more care and attention. While planting peas and beans, we might plant them in zone 3 as well. Now we are at zone 3 of Hasera Permaculture Learning Center. Here we grow those crops which don't need much attention. So now in zone 3 we have maize and some beans, and mostly cereal crops will fall under zone 3. So for this maize in its whole lifetime we just have to come to the field at maximum 3 times. So when we are planting, when we are weeding for the first time, when we are doing the second weeding and at the time of harvest. So this needs much less of our attention than a vegetable crop would need. So in Hasera our zone 3 is located a little further away than zone 2 and much further away from zone 1 because it needs much less attention from zone 0 than zone 2 and zone 1. So we also have some fruits growing in our zone 3. Mainly we have apples, oranges, peach, pear, plum and avocados. And the major benefit of having a zone 3 in our farm is it gives us the same amount of production with very minimal investment of our time. So if in your farm there is a very limited number of labor force or very limited number of manpower, you can think of having more area for zone 3 rather than zone 2 and zone 1. And that way you can still harvest much more return from less investment of your time. So giving you an example, now we have our apple trees fruiting, and this tree is already 2 to 3 years old, and in these 2 to 3 years of its life we hardly came and took care of it at maximum 5 hours per tree, and that's very less time invested per tree in its whole lifetime. Now we are in zone 4 of Hasera, and here we have mainly fodder crops growing, that is the resource for our livestock. While thinking about zone planning in a farm, we also have to think about other two principles in parallel. These are inter-elemental relationship and elemental location. For example, the family member fall under zone 0, the kitchen falls under zone 0, but the place where we grow vegetables fall under zone 1. How do we make sure that the vegetables grown in zone 1 comes to family in proper time? The livestock might fall under zone 1, but the place where we grow fodder and forage might fall under zone 4. How do we make sure that the fodder grown in zone 4 comes to livestock without delay in time? Our commercial vegetable plot might fall under zone 2, but how do we make sure that it is in close contact with the transportation system to take it to the market? A different form of relationship exists between different zones of the farm. For example, zone 4 is very closely related with our zone 1, which is the livestock. So the area that we have separated for zone 4 should be coherent with the number of livestock that we have. The more number of livestock we have, the more fodder trees we need, the more grass we need, and the more land we need to produce those fodder and grasses. So as livestock and zone 4 are very closely related, in Hasera we have our livestock just here, and there is a separate path which comes from the livestock unit to this zone 4, and collecting fodder and bringing it to livestock is not much of a hassle for us. So finally, zone 5 is that part of our farming system or that part of our land which is not giving us any return or which will never give us any return. For example, if you have a big hill with a 90-degree slope or 80-degree slope where you cannot grow and go and plant anything, that's useless for us. So it's better not to give that part of land any care and attention. Though there are 6 zones in a permaculture farm, not necessarily a farm should have all these zones. For example, if a farm is focusing on livestock, they might just have zone 0, zone 1 and zone 4. If a farm is focusing on commercial vegetable, then it might just have zone 0, zone 1 and zone 2. So to be called a permaculture farm, there is no need that you need to have all these zones. The major focus is there should be a logical arrangement of these of different zones based on the interest or objective of that specific farm. The practical objective of permaculture lies in implementing these design principles to design a sustainable farm, and this is where it gets exciting and challenging as well. And to achieve this at Hasera, out of total 3/4 of a hectare of land, we have 500 square meters for our zone 0, 1000 square meters each for zone 1 and zone 2, 4000 square meters for zone 3 and 2500 square meters for zone 4. And while making these allocations, there has to be a balance between the availability of human resource and farming land, number of livestock and fodder production area, compost production and the farmland, production of vegetable and the market demand, and many other aspects as well. Permaculture design is a continuous process. It is not just science but art as well. In our farm, we learn from our own experiences and keep on making changes in the design to make it even better. And in the long run, our design is our teacher itself. Say we forgot to allocate enough space for zone 4. Then we'll have less biomass, from which there will be less manure, from which we can farm less land. So a part of our land will naturally be left barren. And if we use the principle properly, you can allocate a part of barren land for zone 4 and zone 3 as well. In permaculture, we work with nature, not against it. There is so much to learn from nature and so much yet to understand. And let nature be our greatest teacher. Jai Permaculture.